Greetings, welcome, welcome, welcome. Mikey Unfiltered, welcome. Good to see everybody as you come in the room. Please share this live with everybody you know. Share with at least 10 or 11 people. Help us out. Happy Monday. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Soul Awakening Sanctuary. Welcome to the Soul Awakening Sanctuary movement, where we're here live every Monday through Friday at 12 noon, bringing you spiritual teachings of expanded consciousness, spirituality, as you come in, greet us. Let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. You may be on your lunch breaks. Just come on in the room. We're thankful. We're moving in the spirit of gratitude. I don't own any rights to the music. It's for inspirational purposes only. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Anybody grateful out there? Anybody on this live that's happy to be alive? Grand Rising, everybody. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you had a great weekend. Today we're going to be talking about self-improvement, self-empowerment, Gonna talk about getting to know yourself. Because this whole road of spiritual awakening is all about getting to know who you truly are. Coming into the knowledge of the truth of who you are and who you've been since you've been created.
Because I want to give you my best, and I'll only be hurting myself if I try to give you less. Sometimes that the road will get rough.
Anybody want to be better? Anybody willing to do the work to become better? To better your mind, yourself, your life?
If I try to give you less, I wanna be better than good enough. Cause just being good won't be quite enough. Lord, make me ready to stand my test. I want to be better, to do my best.
Oh, better. You can only make yourself better by being willing to put the work in, to do the inner work, the shadow work. Please make me better. Better, Lord. Welcome, everybody. Greetings, Ralph. Greetings, Krishna. Welcome. We are hailing from North Carolina. That's where I'm located at. Where are you located at? Let us know. Where are you watching from? Today we're talking about getting to know yourself. Today we're talking about reconnecting to the divine within you. How to master yourself. A lot of people want to know how to master everybody but themselves. So that's what we're talking about today. How to master yourself. Greetings, Crystal Ball Tarot. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. As you come in the room, please tap the screen. Share this live, everybody, with at least 10, 11 people. Help us out. We're so happy to have you. Greetings, your favorite D. Welcome, welcome. We're playing a little music. Going down memory lane. So happy to see y'all. Greetings, Miss Kia 777. Hope you're doing well. And I want to wish everybody a happy belated Mother's Day. Those women who are on the live who are mothers, I wish that you and pray that you had a wonderful Mother's Day on yesterday. Because truly every day is Mother's Day. Because a mother's job is never done. And so we are thankful for all of the mothers, everybody who've nurtured, who prayed, who've taken care of a child. We're thankful for you today. And we send out this live stream and we dedicate it to all the mothers out there today. And know that your work is not in vain. Your love for your children is not in vain, mother. Whether you gave birth to children or not, however you came into motherhood, your nurturing is not in vain. Know that. That there's some child, there's some young person that is looking for a guiding hand. They're looking for love. And you just might be the mother that they need. And so I love each and every one of you. And to those who, yesterday, Mother's Day was tough because your mother is no longer on this side of the veil, I want you to know that I'm holding you up in light and consciousness. Because my belated mother, of blessed memory, she went on to the other side of the veil, to the realm of the ancestors. Right after I had gotten married, and not too long after high school, just got into my 20s, and my mother left this earthly existence. So I know what it is to have to go and deal with every Mother's Day without your mom. And so I'm holding all of you up in light and consciousness. Hold on to the memories, the precious memories. Again, greetings, everybody. Greetings as you come in the room. Greet us in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. We're so happy to have you. And we want to welcome you to this sacred and safe space. Welcome, where everybody is welcome, where love is the divine and love is for everyone. This is a sacred and safe space, a virtual sanctuary where you can come and let go of all of your burdens, worry, anxiety, all of the outside world problems, and you can resurrect the divine within you in this space. So welcome. You've been looking for a spiritual home, spiritual advisor. If you've been looking for spirituality from an expanded consciousness perspective, I want you to know, welcome home. If you've been looking for an inclusive ministry to call home, where your soul can be fed, where you can be encouraged, your divine gifts are honored, welcome home. You found the right place. So welcome. As you come in the room, please tap the screen, tap those screens, let those hearts go up, share this live, everybody. Share it with at least 10, 11 people. Let somebody know that we are live and we are here. And we're going to be talking about knowing yourself. Because that's the key. Not somebody else knowing you, but you learning to know yourself. Who you are. Don't worry about what other people call you and what they say. It's who you say about yourself that matters. Praise His holy name. Ah, hallelujah, Jesus. Praise His holy name. And this space is an inviting and welcoming and inclusive space for everybody, no matter your religion, your race, your background, your ethnic group. You're welcome here. Welcome, 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 everybody. They used to play, my mother and them used to play this song when they're getting ready for Sunday service, getting ready to go to Sunday school. They'd put this on. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Let me know how you're doing today, how you're feeling. Hope you having a great Monday, a great start to your day, great start to your week. Whatever time of day you're watching, we're so happy for you being here because you could be doing so many different things, but you've decided to be here with me in this noonday hour. So welcome, welcome, very. Miss Kia 777, welcome, beloved. I'm so happy to see you. Hope you're doing well, and I hope you've enjoyed your Mother's Day. She says a very vibrant aura and every day too. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So today our topic is Man Know Thyself, unlocking identity, self-knowledge, and divine power. Because if you don't know who you are, anybody can tell you something and you believe it. So welcome today to the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement live virtual session. And the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement is here, shining the light to those who are leaving organized religion and colonized theology and are looking to find hope, love, life, inspiration through spirituality in an expanded consciousness way. Welcome. This is the place for you. If you're tired of hearing the same old things and you know that it's not working, welcome. This is the place for you. To deconstruct, to review and look at everything you've ever been taught. Look at it, examine it, and be able to say, that works for me, this doesn't work for me. This is true, this is not true. If that's where you are in the space you're in, welcome. This is the place for you. If you're trying to rebuild your faith and your life and spirituality without indoctrination and dogma, welcome. This is the place for you. I am Chief Apostle Veronica Yisrael, Chief High Priestess, Global Spiritual Leader, Teacher Guide, and the founder of the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement. Our mission here is to awaken divine consciousness in the souls of those who are decolonizing their minds, deconstructing from harmful theologies, and reclaiming their spiritual power through truth, not doctrine and dogma and indoctrination. We are here to spread love, to show light, to show that there's another way than what we've been taught. So welcome. Today, again, our sacred session is titled Man Know Thyself. Then thou shalt know the universe and the gods and goddesses. This is a famous proverb. It's a famous Kemetic proverb that holds the master key to three missing elements in our spiritual and cultural evolution: identity, self-knowledge, and self-revelation. These are the three missing keys that we have and we struggle with as a people. And this Kemetic Proverbs hold the master key to unlocking that. The three missing elements in our spiritual and cultural evolution is identity, self-knowledge, and self-revelation. I want you to sit with that. Self-knowledge, identity, and self-revelation. That is what's missing. Because when we don't have an identity and don't know our identity, when we don't have self-knowledge, know who we are, where we come from, what we are worth, and then we don't have self-revelation, it is the downfall of a people. That's right. Sacred Self said they were just telling someone that the self is not the name. The truth is I am, and I am infinite. It seems difficult for people to accept thoughts create their experience. That is true. I always say the thoughts that you entertain in your mind and the words that you speak creates your reality. The thoughts that you entertained yesterday and the words you spoke yesterday created the experience you're living today. And so if you want to change your reality, if you don't like the channel, change the channel. If you don't like your reality and your experiences that you're experiencing in your life, then change the thoughts you entertain and the words that you speak. Because remember, the power of life and death is in the tongue. You have the power to create. You are a co-creator with the divine. And so when you don't know yourself and who you truly are, it blocks you from really being able to tap into your creative energy. It blocks you from being able to tap into your creative self. And remember, whatever you put behind I am, you become. I am that I am. Whatever you put behind I am, you become. If you say I'm weak, I'm worthless, I ain't no good, I ain't got no job, I can't. Guess what? That's what you become. Those words and thoughts, negative words and negative thoughts, cases you in and locks you and binds you to a prison cell of self-doubt, unbelief, confusion, chaos. But when you say, I am worthy, I am loved, thank you for the follow. I am worthy, I am loved, I am creating the life I desire. I am created in the image of the Creator. I am powerful. I am creative. I am the epitome of the divine consciousness that created the universe. I am God in flesh having a human experience. I am divinity in motion. I am conscious that my actions has power. I am conscious that my words have power. I'm conscious that my thoughts are things and they create. I am aware that there's nothing too hard for me to accomplish. See, when you begin to make those type of statements, affirming the truth over yourself, you begin to get in touch with that God part of yourself, that divine essence of you. What your mom and daddy named you is not who you are. That's just a name for you while you're in this realm, fleshly realm, in this body. But who you are at the core is who you've been when you were created, when you came into this world. Because your life existence didn't start when you took your first breath. Your life did not start as a fetus in your mother's womb. Who you are started before you came into this earthly existence. And it's your job to go on the search to find out in the inner search, who you truly are, what you possess, what are you here for. So man, know thyself, then thou shalt know the universe and the gods and goddesses. So the first task of the spiritual initiate, in every spirituality, in every spiritual path, you have initiates that come in and they're initiated into the mystery system, into the truth, into the path. Every spiritual system. In Islam, you have initiates. In Christianity, you have initiates. When you come and get baptized and you go through catechism and or new members class, you become an initiate and they teach you the ways of the path. And who do you become initiates? Learning the sacred arts, how to use herbal medicine. When you're Jewish, you become initiate. You learn the ways, the Hebrew faith. You learn the ways, Judaism, the cornerstone teachings. You go in the mikveh. All these things. Each path, you become an initiate of the path. So what is an initiate? An initiate is someone who begins a process. Initiate is to begin a process, to admit someone into a secret or sacred or obscure society or group, typically with a ritual. So the first task of a spiritual initiate, greetings, XD Wayne, Dwayne, good to see you. Greetings, Kiki Gold. Welcome, everybody. As you come in, tap the screen, share at least to 10 or 11 people. Greetings, everybody. So the first task of a spiritual initiate, those who are on the path to higher knowledge, is to deeply understand, who am I? That question. Those spiritual initiates, which are those who are on the path to higher knowledge, to enlightenment, they deeply understand, not just understand, inside of you, deep inside of you, understand, and wrestle and have come to the answer conclusion of the question, who am I? So ask yourself today, can I answer the question authentically, who am I? Can I answer that today? In truth, who am I? Because you're not what people say you are. No, you're not what people say you are. People say, oh, you no good just like your daddy, or you ain't gonna amount to be nothing, your family ain't nothing, you ain't gonna be out to be. See, you're not what people say. You are who you declare and affirm yourself to be. Self-determination. You decide, you determine what kind of life, what kind of future, what kind of reality and experience in life you will have. And I encourage you, stop giving people the power over you. Say that again. Stop giving people more power over you than they're supposed to have. Because when somebody else has the power over you, my friend, you're a slave. Believe it or not, admit it or not, when people can control you, either through manipulation, however, you are a slave. You have not self-mastered yet. Many people want to master everything and everybody, but you have to learn how to master yourself. That is the main purpose of spirituality and walking and understanding yourself and coming to the knowledge. Man, know thyself, non-gender Pacific, everybody. It is the purpose to know who you are and be able to stand in your truth despite what the world says, despite what naysayers says, despite what anyone negative opinion about you. When you know who you are, and you can say, I know who I am, you can stand authentically. You can stand on your square and declare your truth unequivocally, unashamed. So the study of self is not a cliche. The study of self is not a cliche. It is the greatest spiritual work we can ever do, to know self. If you want to know God, if you want to know the divine, if you want to understand the universe, if you want to understand your fellow human, look within yourself. There you will find God. There you will find divinity. There you will find all things when you look within. Because the creator of the universe, the Most High, the infinite source, place all that you need inside of you. This is what Yeshua, commonly called Jesus, said. The kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven, the Garden of Eden is within you. Not outside of you, not in a building, not in a spiritual figure, leader. It's within you. So when are we going to come to the knowledge and accept that fact and that truth that everything is in me? Greetings, nice lady. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Greetings, Patricia Wilson. Welcome. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. As you come in, tap the screen and share this live to at least 10 or 11 people. Help us out. Spread this truth. I'm so happy to see you. So the study of self is not cliche. It is the greatest spiritual work we can do. Because knowing who you are means you get to know everything you need to know about life, about people, because everything is within you. It's one of the greatest spiritual work we can do because you cannot access divine truth until you have remembered your divine nature. I'm going to say that again. You, we, I, us, we cannot access our divine truth until we have remembered our divine nature. See, we are taught through colonialism, through indoctrination, we are taught something different. We're taught that we're sinners. We're taught that we're filthy rags. We're taught that we're no good and we need a savior. That's what we're taught. We're taught that we're worthless and anything we do is worthless. So you can't find out who you are and come to knowledge of your divine truth until you begin to understand your divine nature. Until you begin to say, listen, I'm not a sinner, never was a sinner, wasn't born a sinner, and I ain't gonna ever be a sinner. I am divine. I was created in the image and likeness of the Creator. So if I'm created in the image and likeness of the Creator, ain't no way in the world I could be, quote unquote, a sinner. I am divine. And it takes the study of self to come back to that divine knowledge. The divinity is within me. I don't have to go search for it. It's already inside of me. And you begin to reclaim your power back. You begin to reclaim your authenticity when you begin to remember your divine nature. What if we really knew our divine nature and walked in that awareness? Would there be black on black crimes? If we knew who we truly were and acted accordingly and treated our fellow human beings with love, would racism exist if we were to walk in our highest self, if we would walk in our highest values, if we would walk in our divine memory, in our divine nature, racism wouldn't exist. Because we know that everyone truly has been created in the image of the divine. Everyone is due love and respect. So that's the one thing the church always teaches, the institution of the church always teach, say, God is love, 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 love. But that love is only extended when you go along with their doctrine, when you go along with the way they feel it should be done. Where is the love for those who oppose your belief system? Where is the love for those who have chosen a different path, who have been called to a different path? Where is the love for those? So in order to move forward, we got to look back. Sankofa. That's why I named my podcast the Sankofa Sessions Podcast. Because to move forward, we must look back. We must get clarity on our records of the past, not history, because history is his story, someone else's story, a rewritten story by the conqueror, retelling our records of the past and making him the victor, the conqueror, and we the conquered. So you can't rely on quote unquote history. You have to go back to your authentic records of the past in order to recall, to remember, and rediscover the wisdom buried in our ancient past that's been buried and hidden from us. Because guess what? If you weren't so powerful and your lineage you come from wasn't so powerful, the truth they would not hide from us. They would not hide the truth. But they hid it because they don't want you to truly know who you are. That's why when it comes to racism, white supremacy, indoctrination, they always push the idea that black is evil, is dark. Anything African, spirituality, anything is evil, it's wrong, it's barbaric, it's a savage. And that's because they want you to neglect and ignore your ancient spiritual path, because they know if you reconnect with your culture and your spirituality, you become a force to be reckoned with. So what do? They continue to indoctrinate you, spoon feed you lies. And it was one thing when we didn't know any better. But it's another when your pastor knows the truth, but he refused to teach you. Your bishop know the truth, but they won't tell you. How come we have so many prophets and seers, but at no point did God tell them to cry out against white supremacy? At no point did God, their God, tell them to preach against injustice. No, their God only told them to prophesy about houses, cars, and bring you all the tithes into the storehouse so the pastor can have a jet, private jet, so the pastor can have a mansion. Where there's nothing wrong with having a mansion, there's nothing wrong with having a private jet, but there is something wrong with you intentionally lying to the community you are sworn to serve. That is a problem, my dear friend. And those who claim to want to help us are really the agents of the system of oppression. And they are continuing to keep us in the cycle, in the system of oppression. Because oftentimes the people who say they've come to lead us out of the system of oppression are agents and work for the system of oppression. The lies are put in their mouth to tell us. So in order to move forward, we must look back to recall, to remember, and rediscover the wisdom buried in our ancient past. Because this ancestral memory gives us direction for the future. When we look back at the records of our past, we get clarity and perspective on how to proceed to go into our future. Greetings, Edo Queen. Greetings, everybody. As you come in the room, please tap the screen and share this live. Share it to a neighbor, share it to a friend, share it to at least 10, 11 people. Welcome. Want as many as people to come in the room. So, recovering your ancient wisdom, remembering your ancestral path gives you direction for the future. Because many people today are coming and saying, where do we go from here? What's the way forward? Well, in order to know that, you got to go and look back to find out where you need to be heading. So that's the role of the initiate. Rediscovering, reclaiming, recalling. So let's deal with the systematic miseducation of African people, of melanated people. There has been a systematic miseducation of a whole people. The whole world has been under the systematic miseducation. And guess what? The powers that be all sat in a boardroom and discussed it and came to a decision. And they pulled the wool over the eyes of the whole world and have us promulgating falsehood, calling it history. So let's tell the truth today. In this sacred and safe space, let's tell the truth today. That Western education has failed us. Let's be honest. Let's be telling the truth. Let's come clean. Western education have failed us. They failed us. They failed our children. They failed generations before us and generations now. So remember, it is our responsibility to educate and tell our children the truth. Tell them about their records of the past. It is not the teacher at the school responsibility to teach your children truth, to teach them about their lineage. It is your responsibility as a parent, as an elder in the community, to hold the torch high and to teach our generations about their records of the past, the truth. Because Western education has failed us, especially those of us labeled Black, African American, brown, people of color, or melanated people. To us specifically, Western education has failed us. They teach you many things, but the things you need to know to live a full life, they neglected to teach. So you may be asking, how did this failure happen? How did this failure of the Western education happen? Well, it's through a process of indoctrination. The process of indoctrination, also known as mental colonization. So the process of indoctrination is also called mental colonization. So that's what has happened to generations of our people that have gone through Western education. They have mentally colonized us. They have gone through a process of indoctrination from childhood up to age 18 when they graduate from high school. We have been indoctrinated and mentally colonized. You may say, well, what do you mean by that? We've been trained to believe that our existence began with slavery. In the Western education system, they don't teach and tell the black boys, the black girls, the black children that your life did not start in chattel enslavement. Your history began in your indigenous land. And the people of your various countries in your indigenous land were powerful kings, queens, rulers, monarchs, seers, prophets, priests and priestesses. A wealthy country, free from European reign and interference. That is not what is taught to our black children in the Western education system. But they are taught that their existence started in slavery. They are taught how the Europeans, quote unquote, gave us our freedom. See, our children have been trained to believe that our greatest and our greatness is limited to survival. I'm going to say that again. Our children have been indoctrinated to believe that our greatness is limited to survival. That we know how to make a way out of no ways. That's what we are taught. Our children are taught. That's one of our greatest strengths, that we know how to take nothing and make something out of it. But that is not the culmination of our greatest abilities. Our children have been taught through Western education indoctrination that our worth must be redeemed. These are the things that Western education have taught our children, and they have failed us tremendously. They've been taught all these things, but beloved family, that is a lie. You are not the descendant of slaves. That's what they like to say, oh, descendants of slaves. You are the descendants of gods and goddesses, are the first humans that existed on earth that we know of. And when you begin to rewire your thoughts and your brain to understand that, well, no, I'm a descendant of a slave. I'm the descendant of gods and goddesses, people who were intelligent and they worked with nature, people who knew the divine and were interconnected to the divine source, to themselves, to their communities, and to the universe. That's what kind of people we come from. That's what kind of stock of people we come from. It's important to know the power of divine inheritance. That's why you got to know your lineage, because what have you inherited? What traits have you inherited? But you don't know that if you have not been taught and educated about your records of the past. So we are created in the image and likeness of the universe, of the divine intelligence, of the source of all, the infinite source, or what some call God, or the Most High. We've been created in the image and likeness, which that means we are not just creations, but it means we are also creators. If we are made, if it is true that we are made in the image and likeness of the Creator, the source of all, that means we are also not just creation, we are co-creators with the divine. So when you grasp that in your heart and mind and your consciousness and spirit, then it shows you that, wait a minute, I have to walk in this consciousness. I have to hold that in my consciousness. I have to walk and live from a place that I'm not just creation, I am a co-creator with the divine. I am a creator myself. And I create with my thoughts, my words, my intentions. Your tongue is a wand. Your thoughts is your laboratory. What are you cooking up in your thoughts and creating with your mouth and your words, with your intentions? See, when we come from that knowledge and we hold that and understand that, we're aware of that, we begin to walk in a different light. We begin to move differently because guess what? I'm just not a meager old beggar. I'm just not just a nobody or just somebody trying to get along. No, I'm a co-creator. I am a creator. I have power. I'm not helpless. I'm not powerless. I'm not hopeless. That's why when they always talk about with depression, I said, well, I may have dealt with depression, honey, but hopelessness, when they ask the question, no. Because I always know there is hope. As long as I'm living, as long as I'm breathing, as long as I'm above ground, there is hope. As my father of blessed memory used to say, it won't be like this always. I don't care what you face, what you go through. Tell yourself it won't be this way always. I don't care what comes up in your life, what circumstances, situations, problems. Remind yourself that it won't be like this always. And this too shall pass. Remember how you got through so many other difficult things that you thought you were not going to get out of. And remember those things and remember how you got out of it. And the divine source of all, the Creator, helped you get out of that problem. And the divinity in you is going to help you get out of whatever situation you're facing. Never give up hope, because hope lives inside of you. How do you think our ancestors made it? Because they had hope. They had a knowing inside of them that they were created free by the universe, by the Creator. And in their spirit, they would not be bound and chained. Their spirit would remain free. So remember, we're not creations, we are creators. Children of the creative source, with the divine nature embedded in our being. Everything that God is, you are. Everything that the divine source is, you are. It's been embedded in you. The divine nature has been placed inside of you. But indoctrination has bred self-doubt in us. It has bred self-hate in us. And it has bred spiritual confusion. We have more confused melanated people now than ever before. They're trying to be everything but them. We're trying to get rid of our beautiful natural features while everybody else in the world is trying to, who's not melanated, they are, or have the lack thereof, they are trying to get what we're naturally blessed with. Now let's make that make sense. They despise us because we got it and they don't. But they do all they can to get what we have. See the trickery? See the spell that's been put on us? That we got to open our eyes to see? See, we've been led to believe that everything divine came from the Greco-Roman or Eurocentric world. That's what we've been taught. Greetings, Cassie Air. Welcome, everybody. As you come in the room, please tap the screen, share this live, everybody, to at least 10, 11 people. Help us boost this live broadcast to the world. So we've been led to believe that everything divine, everything holy, everything right came from the Greco-Roman world or the Eurocentric world. We've been led to believe that the greatest achievement of humanity somehow excludes the melanated people of the earth. That's what we've been indoctrinated and mentally colonized to believe. That all the great achievements on earth has been completed by every other ethnic group but melanated peoples of the earth. But when in fact, the greatest achievements ever accomplished in this earth realm has come from melanated people all over the earth. See, when we have believed the lie that our ethnic group, that our people, our nation never contributed anything to the human race, when we give in to that lie, I call that spiritual amnesia. And it was done on purpose. A spell was casted over our people. Every time our children sat in these Western educational systems, a spell was casted over our children. Every time our children sat in front of a television screen and everything they saw did not reflect them, they were indoctrinated and a spell was casted over them. And it is our job to undo the spell. It is our job to rewire our brains and our children's brains. It is our responsibility to unlearn the lies and teach our children to unlearn the lies. Because you never should expect your colonizer, your oppressor, to teach you the truth. Why would your oppressor teach you the truth? So you can overthrow them? That's just like, why would the oppressor, the slave master, teach their subjects, quote unquote slaves, the truth? Why would they teach them the truth? If they believed that their God was so powerful and was keeping them intact, keeping them as the slave master and the slave as a slave, why would they tell their slaves about that God? Why would they teach their slaves about that God? No, because they knew what was really up with what they believed. And they taught us their version, their whitewashed version of their beliefs to keep us confused in a spiritual confusion, believing in something that is anti-black, that is anti-melanated. See, we have to we believe in telling the truth here on when we get on here. We have to be willing to admit and face the truth that religion was used as a powerful tool of oppression. It is still done today. Religion still is used today as a powerful tool of oppression. Oppression against women, females. oppression against marginalized groups, oppression against the poor. Religion, the most powerful tool of oppression. In days gone by and right now. So let's go a little bit deeper. Because what you have to understand that the institution of the church was the premise. It was a driving force that gave the Eurocentric world the permission to go in and take over the continent of Africa. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to deal with that. It was the church that sanctioned chattel enslavement. It was the church that said that melanated people, black people, African people, indigenous people were subhuman. They dehumanized. The church, the institute of the church, was what dehumanized our people and rationalized it and made it all right for them to come and do the atrocities that they did to our ancestors. So we got to start there. When we are on the road to spiritual truth, to uncovering our records of the past and our heritage, we have to go back and face the truth wherever it's found. Because one of the greatest con jobs ever done, one of the greatest con jobs ever done in the world, and is still ongoing and standing strong to this moment, is the institution of religion. The institution of the religion, the greatest con job ever done and still that continues on today. The institution of religion. That's right, I said it. And before I take it back, I'll add more to it. The biggest stronghold that have kept us from liberating ourselves has been the institution of religion. The thing that keeps us now, even though the chains are no longer on our feet and on our hands, but the institution of religion keeps our mind colonized, and it keeps our mind in a prison cell of indoctrination and dogma. Thank you for the rose, Cassie Air. Thank you. Thank you all for the gifts. Keep tapping that screen. Help us out. Share this. Those on YouTube, those on TikTok. Share this live to at least 10, 11 people. See, religion sold us a God outside of ourselves. Religion sold us a God outside of ourselves, which is foreign to our spiritual principles. Our African, indigenous spirituality, that's foreign to us. A God outside of ourselves. Religion sold us not only a God outside of ourselves, but a narrative of unworthiness, that we were not worthy of the Creator's love. We were not worthy. And they sold us the belief and the need for a man named Jesus to save us. That's what they sold us. But here's the divine truth. Here's the divine truth. That you are God. You are God in flesh. Your body is the temple of the divine. It says that in the biblical narrative. And you, remember, you are the manifestation of the creative force in form. You are the manifestation of the creative force in form. What a difference that is from what we've been sold. in indoctrination and mental colonization. See, your mother, we just celebrated Mother's Day on yesterday, and we are still today, we are celebrating mothers. We are dedicating this live stream and virtual session today of the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement to mothers. However, you became a mother by birth, by adoption, by chosen family. Your mother, womb man. See, the first man had a womb man. She said, we are taught through mental colonization, we're taught through indoctrination and church dogma that a man was created and out of a man came a woman, but we know that is not true. That's not true. It is the woman who creates. She's the creative force. She's the divine mother. She is the one that can reproduce herself. So your mother, the womb man, brought you here to this earthly realm through her divine waters. Want to talk about baptism? You were baptized through your mother's womb, the womb man who brought you through her divine waters. Our mothers baptized us in birth. In birth, our mothers not only baptized us, but they crowned you and nurtured you. Our mothers was the first God that you ever met. When you look and say, I want to see the face of the Creator, look at your mother and your father. The two people who created you, who came together. It was you, it was your mother, the father, and the divine source. And brought you into existence. But instead of honoring our mothers and honoring her divinity, we've been taught to honor a white Jesus, a white God, and a ghost, instead of honoring the divine mother, our mother, her divinity, who brought us into the world. See the deception? We've been deceived, and we have to learn how to really come to that conclusion and accept that. Well, we've been deceived, but now what do we do about it? So let's metaphysically decode this phrase, the fear of the Lord. Because a lot of people say, oh, you gotta fear God, fear God. But why would an all-loving, infinite source, creator, God by all names known, need you to fear it when it's all powerful? Fear it for what? So let's decode the scripture. Proverbs 9 and 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. What does that mean? Theologians say fear means awe, being in awe. But let's decode it. Because we know that if you know anything about African spirituality, melanated people, Black, African American, we truly, spiritually, are not theologians. We are cosmologists. We're connected to the cosmos. We're connected to the source, life. See, fear is an acronym: fire, earth, air, river. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. What does fear mean? Metaphysically, when you break down the word fear, it is an acronym: fire, earth, air, river. And these are the elements of nature, the elements of you. So now let's decode the word Lord. Metaphysically, the word Lord, Lord, equals law. Not man-made law, but universal law, cosmic law. So what are you saying, Chief? What do you mean? What do you mean by this? Well, what this verse actually means, and we've been miseducated in it, is to begin to embody the universal laws of nature. That is the beginning of wisdom. The beginning of wisdom is the fear, which is to embody the universal laws of nature. That is the beginning of wisdom. So when you begin to master the laws, those laws, universal laws, that supersedes your religious dogma and indoctrination, universal laws can be changed. It applies to everybody, regardless of your religious affiliation, regardless of your spiritual tradition. When you begin to master the laws of the universe, you become the Lord of the earth. But the earth isn't just the ground underneath your feet. The earth is your body. So man know thyself, non-gender Pacific, man know thyself is about learning how to be the Lord of the earth. And the earth is not just the ground under your feet, but it is your body. It is about self-mastery, mastering yourself, mastering your emotions, learning how to be in control of you and not someone else being able to control you. You must learn how to master yourself. Think about that. I must learn how to master myself. Say that to yourself. I must learn how to master myself. I must learn how to master myself. Because remember the verse of sacred text that I read, I believe it was last week, that an individual who don't have self-control is like a city without walls. Meaning when you don't have self-mastery, when you don't know how to have self-control, when you're not in charge of your own self, you're like a city without walls, no protection. Somebody can come in at any time and play you like a fiddle. You're a pawn in someone else's scheme. Why? Because you've not learned to master yourself. You can be controlled, invaded, because you've not learned the art of self-mastery. That's how so many people are persuaded out of what they know is true. It's because they have not learned self-mastery. How to stand in their authenticity and in their truth without wavering. They don't know how to use their own critical thinking skills to think for themselves. That's why some people leave religion, but then eventually go back, because spirituality is different from religion. It requires you to use your critical thinking skills. It requires you to know that you are responsible and there are things you have to do. The universe will do its part, But you have to do your part. You have to flow in accordance and align with universal laws. And many people don't want to do that. They want a quick, easy route. But there is no quick, easy route to learning to know yourself, becoming a self-mastered individual, mastering self-mastery. So let's deal a little bit about education is self-knowledge. See, the word education comes from the Latin educo, or educare, which means to draw out, to lead forth. That means real education comes from within. I'm going to say that again. Education comes from the Latin educo or educare, which means to draw out, to lead forth, which implies to us that real education comes from within. It's not in sitting in a university and having a bill that for the rest of your life you'll be trying to pay student loans and all of that for the education, those schools. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with if you want to go to school and get an education in their school systems. But the greatest education comes from within. It's not about cramming facts down in your brain. It's about drawing out your divine potential. How many people do you know that have gone to college, have finished in the finest universities, yet the profession in which they're great at and have brought them to great success has nothing to do with the education they learned in the university? Total opposite. Think about that. It's about drawing out your divine potential. So if you're on this path of spirituality and self-knowledge, identity, self-revelation, when you're on the path to self-discovery, spirituality, coming back to who you truly are, if you're on this path, the first step you have to do is self-analysis. You have to analyze yourself, get to know who you are. So many people, somebody asks you, who are you? We cannot answer other than our name. We'll start telling people what position we hold, what accomplishment, all that. But that's not who you are. At your essence, at your true core, who are you? So your first step in this journey is self-analysis, getting to know you. You have to learn, we have to learn that we must cleanse our mind, our body, our spirit, and our soul of every toxic belief or false narrative. When we're on the path of self-discovery, this spiritual path of returning to your roots and who you are authentically, you gotta cleanse your mind, body, spirit, soul of every toxic belief and false narrative. Every false narrative and belief system that's toxic, that have held you back, all of those old programming, you got to let it go. Oh, I'm a sinner. I was born a sinner. Gotta let that thought go. I'm a filthy worm. I'm a worthless rag. No, you gotta let that thought go. I'm nothing without this religion or this church or this God. You gotta let that go. It's part of the reason why you have not progressed. It's part of the reason that have kept you stand still, stagnated. So all of these limiting beliefs gotta go. That you're not smart enough, that you don't have the capabilities. All those toxic beliefs and false narratives, you got to cleanse your mind, body, soul, and spirit from them. Especially those toxic beliefs and false narratives about you, about yourself, and your ancestry. That you come from slaves, that you come from nobodies, that you were just African voodoo stretchers running wild in Africa and living in the woods and didn't have no empires. So you got to let that thought go. Those negative, toxic beliefs and false narratives about your heritage, about your family, about your people. You have to be willing to let that go. Because that is what is holding you in a prison. That is what is holding you. Sister Nicole Wilson, welcome. What's happening here? We're teaching about self-discovery. We're teaching about leaving organized religion and indoctrination and us coming into our power. That's what we're talking about here. This may be the room for you. It may not be. You decide for yourself. But welcome, everybody, as you come in. Welcome to the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement. Welcome to a sacred and safe space to unlearn the lies about you, your ancestor lineage, and to reconnect to the divine within you. This is what this platform is about. So, when you begin to cleanse your mind and body and spirit and soul from every toxic belief and false narrative about yourself and your ancestry, this is the sacred beginning of self-knowledge. So let me give you some questions, some journal prompts, things for you to think about and you to consider. And I invite you to answer in your journal, or you can put it in the comments, either one you feel free to. But this is what I want you to meditate on. Greetings, Christina Trotter. Blessings, peace, and love to you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, everyone. As you join, please tap the screen, share this live to at least 10, 11 people. Let somebody know that we are live and come on in the room to this sacred and safe space, this whole awakening sanctuary movement, our virtual sanctuary where you can find peace, love, acceptance, inclusion, and spirituality from an expanded consciousness perspective. So here's some questions for you to consider. Who am I beyond the labels society has given me? Who am I beyond the labels that society has given me? Who am I beyond the labels society has given me? Another question. What beliefs have I inherited that no longer serve me? What beliefs have I inherited that no longer serve me? Think about that. I want you to sit with that. What beliefs have you inherited that no longer serves you? It don't serve your future. It don't serve where you are. It don't serve where you're going. Let me give you some examples of limiting beliefs that we have inherited and may apply to you. Only you can tell. Here's some common inherited beliefs. I'm not worthy unless I've suffered. I'm not worthy unless I've suffered. Any blessing that I get, I'm not worthy of it unless I suffered to get it. Unless I went through a lot to get it. I'm not worthy unless I suffer. This is a limiting belief. Many absorb this idea that hardship equals merit. So we subconsciously seek out pain or shame as proof of our worth. You ever heard church people say, honey, I suffered for this anointing. I went through to have my spiritual rank, as if suffering and pain and hardship equals merit. So I want you to consider, as I read these all, consider how letting these limiting beliefs go might free your spirit, your soul, your conscience. So we subconsciously seek out pain or shame as proof of our worth. But it's not that. You've been anointed, you've been appointed, you've been called, you've been chosen, you've been destined for the foundation of the world. No amount of pain or shame or hardship qualifies you for what your destiny holds. What qualifies you is you being you, because this has been your destiny. But we've been taught and programmed to believe something else. That's right, sacred self. I'm glad you're loving this. I am worthy without struggle because I am. I am the proof of life, the evidence of being. That's correct. I love that thought. You are worthy of love, acceptance, and every good thing that comes to you. See, this thought of I'm not worthy unless I've suffered, this is the reason why people don't know how to accept good things coming in their life. It's strange to them because they didn't have to go through nothing to get it. So they feel some type of way. The second limiting belief that many of us may struggle with is authority always knows best. Now, that's one of the biggest lies. That authority always knows best. That's not true. See, from early schooling, we've been taught this. Because remember, the Western school system has failed us. Western education system has failed us because it has been a tool of programming. Western school system has programmed us. And this process is called indoctrination. And this process of indoctrination is also known as mental colonization. So even at a young, tender age in school, from our early schooling, and from going to Sunday school and church, we have learned to defer to teachers, priests, or experts rather than trust our own inner guidance system, trusting our own inner wisdom, our own intuition. This is the thing. We've been not taught to trust our own intuition. We've not been taught to trust our own inner wisdom and inner guidance. We have been taught to defer to those in authority, not knowing that those in authority is not always right. They don't always know what's best. And so we have to unlearn this lie and begin to learn that I have to follow my divine inner knowledge. I have to follow my own intuition. I have to follow my own inner wisdom. I have to follow my own path. Because divinity is within me. You have to use your own discernment to discern right from wrong. What's for you and what's not for you. So this is another limiting belief. Authority always knows best. We've been taught from a child to respect policemen, to respect authority, and to neglect your own personhood. We have not been taught to respect everybody and respect yourself. Respect yourself first and then respect everybody. And that is what has held us captive many times because we've been taught to respect everybody else and not respect yourself. You can tell those who've been taught not to respect themselves because they allow anything, they take anything. They're just like a doormat. They let people come in and out of their life. But when you know self-respect, when you've been taught how to respect yourself and to respect others, you hold yourself to a certain accountability and others to the same thing. Why? Because you know how to respect yourself and know that you deserve respect, honor, and that you're worthy of it. Here's another one. The third one that we sometimes struggle with when it comes to knowing who we are and these limiting beliefs. Success means material gains. That is some idea that some of us have picked up somewhere along the way that success means material gains. So if we don't have material things to show for, then obviously we're not successful. We're taught that financial status, financial wealth, and status defines a life well lived, rather than inner growth, community, or spiritual engagement and alignment. Again, we have been taught that financial wealth and status defines a life well lived, rather than inner growth, community, or spiritual alignment. Greetings, beloved McKnight. Welcome. Hope you're doing well today. You know, a lot of our parents, they didn't leave financial wealth here. A lot of them were not taught about financial literacy. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. A lot of people, they weren't taught that. But that don't mean they didn't have a life well lived. They had community. They were spiritually enlightened. They did good in the earth. They left the world as a better place than when they found it. These are the things that count. They lived in spiritual alignment. That is what defines a life well lived, not your success in material gains. So these are the limiting beliefs we got to let go. That's holding us in a prison cell. Another one, number 4, things that have come to hold us back. These limiting beliefs. You must fit in to belong. How many of us have ever struggled with fitting in the crowd and finding out that we don't fit in the crowd? We don't fit in the areas that we go, seeing that we just a non-fit. See, cultural and familiar pressures push us to adopt certain fashions, accents, faith, or values, even if they don't truly reflect our true nature. I'm going to say that again. Oftentimes, our culture, our familiar, pressures us to adopt, to accept, to adapt to certain fashions, accents, faith, practices, values that sometimes, oftentimes, don't reflect our true nature. So we are pressured to change. You know, give you an example. Me personally, there's some things that my style of dressing, what I do, honey, it's totally opposite of my partner, my spouse. Totally opposite. But guess what? It's okay. A lot of people, they say, oh, the way she dressed, she must be stuck up, or the way she dressed, I don't know. She may not be down to earth. That's someone else's perception of me. That has nothing to do with me. That's their perception. So you have to learn that you can't allow culture, you can't allow family to cause you to adapt, to adopt, and to change into things, into a person, into a faith, to a system that do not reflect your true nature. When you're on this path of self-discovery, on this path of knowing who you are, you have to be willing to stand on your square. You have to be willing to stand in your truth. You have to be willing to face the hard facts that you may not fit in. But that don't mean you don't belong. You have a place and a right and a seat at the table. Even if people think you're a misfit. Because the one who they call the black sheep of the family is really the one who's the leader. They're the one who doesn't just roll over. They're the one who just don't say yes to everything. They're the one who has their own mind. They know how to use their own critical thinking skill, and they stand for what they believe in, not what the majority says. That is who the characteristic of normally those who they call the black sheep of the family. They won't let the family run them and rule them. While I'm on the subject, let me give you a little advice my mother of blessed memory used to always say. She used to say that you can get along with the devil as long as stay out your business. And she was referring to family. She said, beloved, keep family out of your marriage and keep them out of your business. My mother used to say, you wonder how me and your father last so long? And why I have such a great relationships with my in-laws? It's because I kept them out of our business. My mother told me once, there was one time, didn't get enough of her marriage, where my grandmother, her mother-in-law, and one of the sisters, my father's sister, they thought they were going to run my mother's marriage and run her home. Honey, anybody that knew my mother knew she was a no-nonsense and she didn't hold the phone. She didn't play the radio. She said what she meant what she said, and that was that. That was my mother. She was going to tell it to you like it was, but she was going to be sweet about it, but she was going to be direct. You never had to wonder what my mother was thinking. She was going to tell you. As my mother said, they had one time, and she said, I put them in their place, and ever since then, it's been smooth sailing. She said, because I learned to keep my business and my family and my home. Because once you invite family in your marriage, in your relationships, you can't get them out. It's hard to get them out. A lot of people, that's why when they have arguments with their spouse or whatever, they start putting up in the windows and putting up different things on their social media. Start throwing out hints, start throwing out jabs, or start putting their whole marital business out on social media. But then once you make up, what you don't think about, once you done made up and forgive each other and want to go on with your marriage, now just because you forgave your partner don't mean the rest of the world has. And the rest of the world is looking at you like a fool, like you got up here and said all that, but then you still with them. That's why I tell people, do not speak ill of your partner, whoever you're with, whoever your spouse is, whoever your friends are, whoever you associate with. Do not speak ill of them, because guess what? When you speak ill of them, but still in bed with them, still in a relationship with them, still in close proximity to them, people look at you and say, well, you're talking about them, but you're still hanging with them. You're talking about them, but you're still married to them. You're talking about them, but you're still in a relationship with them. So a part of self-discovery, learning who you are, man, know thyself, is knowing that, listen, hardship is going to come. Every day is not going to be easy. But I have to learn to master my emotions. I have to learn to master myself. I don't need to get on social media and spill all my guts and all my business. Because a marriage, a relationship, even friendships, is sacred. And we should treat it as such. So another limiting belief that we have to let go of is that my past defines my future. A lot of people have this thought that my past defines my future. Or I may have gone to jail. I may have been incarcerated. Or I grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. Or, I come from a single parent household. Or, I don't have much education. I wasn't able to finish college. All of these are past things that happen. They're not current. And you have to understand, you cannot allow, or you should not, should I say, your past to define your future. See, by believing childhood traumas or ancestral mistakes lock us into a destiny. When we believe that, we deny the soul's power to heal, to transform, and reinvent itself. Again, when you believe that your childhood traumas or your ancestral mistakes lock you into a particular destiny, that means that you are denying the soul's power to heal, to transform, and reinvent itself. We must remember that you are a divine being. You're just not a mere human. You are a divine being, God in flesh, having a human experience. You're co-created with the divine. Never leave that part. Never forget that important part. So your soul has the power to heal, to transform, and to reinvent itself. So no, your past doesn't define your future. It doesn't have to. You can have a fresh start. You can begin again if you decide to. But it's all up to you. The decision is in your hands. The ball is in your court. Another limiting belief that we have is that emotions are weakness, especially for the men that struggle with that. A lot of our brothers struggle with that. A lot of people just in general struggle with that. That emotions is a sign of weakness. See, Stoic, patriarchal, and colonial paradigms tell us that we need to suppress our feelings. That's what we were told, that we need patriarchy, Stoic beliefs, and colonial paradigms have taught us we need to learn to suppress our feelings. But suppressing our feelings is what has gotten many of us in the trouble that we have gotten into, that have caused us the greater emotional harm, distress, and trauma. It's because we've suppressed it, that we have not grieved properly. We have not gone through our process. We have not sat in our emotions. And so now it's been bottled up, but all the while, it's building momentum and steam. And after a while, the bottle's going to break. top gonna bust. Because you suppress it so long that it has to seek an outlet. And it might not come out anyway like it should. So we've been taught to suppress our feelings, but in reality, honoring your emotional body is essential for self-knowledge. Somebody said, what do you mean, Chief? What I mean is that you have to learn how to honor your emotional body. Honor your emotion. Do not ignore it. Do not suppress it. Part of self-knowledge is honoring how you feel. You have a right to feel angry. Don't let nobody tell you you don't have a right to be angry. Don't let nobody tell you you have a right to feel the way you feel. You don't have a right to feel the way you feel. Yes, you have a right to feel the way you feel. And you need to just process those emotions. Sit with those emotions. Don't do no spiritual bypassing. Because that's the problem that many people have. They're spiritually bypassing. Instead of handling and dealing with their problems, handling, dealing with their emotions, really working through their trauma. Instead of doing that, they're just spiritually bypassing. So we have to learn how to really confront that. Another limiting belief is that spirituality lives outside of the body. All of us have been taught that. The spirituality lives outside of the body. Many religions teach that the divine is elsewhere. It's in the sky. It's in a building. It's at a shrine. Many religions teach that the divine is in heaven, in a book, in a guru, in a preacher, in a spiritual leader. When in fact, your body is the temple of the holies of holies. Your body is the temple, and you are the living incarnation of the divine. Isn't that powerful? Your body is the temple, and you are a living incarnation of the divine. Have to learn how to honor yourself. That's right. Sacred Self said, ask the question, what do you think about allowing all your expressions, no matter how it comes through? I believe we should sit with them. If we're mad, if we're angry, if we're upset, if we're infuriated, we need to sit with those emotions and work through them. Honor them. That something made me upset, something made me angry, something made me whatever the case is. Sit with that. Honor that. Acknowledge that. Then find out what's the real root of the problem. Because sometimes the root of the problem is not someone else. The root of the problem is us. Oh, this person hurt me so bad, or this, that, whatever. Well, did we really open ourselves up to that? Did we see the warning signs, but we ignored it? Sometimes we got to ask ourselves the hard questions. Did I ignore the warning signs that the universe sent my way, but I went on anyhow? And take accountability. While we're sitting with our emotions and acknowledging them, we have to sit with our emotions and acknowledge our part in things. Because sometimes it ain't always about someone else and what they did. It ain't always the other person's fault. A lot of times, we played a big role in why things turn disastrous. So, a part of self-knowledge and really coming to yourself is, can we acknowledge these things? That's what we have to really ask ourselves and really sit with ourselves and discuss. Another limiting belief is asking questions is disrespectful. A lot of times we've been told, don't question God, don't question the preacher, don't question your mama and daddy, don't question your elders. That's right, Miss Kia. Keeping the accusing finger pointed instead of looking at yourself. As the old folks used to say, every time you point a finger, you looking back at, see how many looking back at yourself. So stop the name it, blame it game and look within. Ask yourself the hard questions. Because you can't change anybody else. The only person you can change is in your power to change is you. We are the ones that can change us. And everybody else has to change their own self. You can try to help them, but it's their prerogative to change their self. What Michael Jackson, the song said, I'm talking to the man in the mirror, asking him to change his ways. You have to look in the mirror of truth, be your own inner knowing and self, and ask the hard questions of yourself. And then begin to make the necessary changes to become the person that you know you can become. See, we've been taught that asking questions is disrespectful. We inherit this notion that doubt equals sin or disloyalty. True self-knowledge, however, is built on courageous inquiry. Just because you have doubt, it doesn't equal sin or disloyalty. But if you want to truly know yourself, you become built up on courageous inquiry. To know thyself means to question. You have to be willing to question your beliefs that you've been taught. Everybody can believe what they want to believe, but is your belief so strong that it can withhold questions? Can you question your own beliefs and see what comes out of it? These are the things that we have to really grasp with. Ask questions. See, a lot of people don't want to be taught. A lot of people don't want you questioning. A lot of times we're afraid of the true questions. We are afraid of what the answer might be. A lot of people don't want you to question them because they don't want the truth. They don't want the truth coming out. But you have to be willing to ask the questions. That's how you find out information. I used to have a teacher that always said, no question is a dumb question. And if there is a dumb question, it's the question that's not asked. Because you never know who else in the room is thinking the same thing you are, but are afraid to speak up and speak out. Someone asked about a private spiritual session. If you need a private spiritual consultation, you can inbox us or email us at Chief Apostle Veronica Yisrael, and you can book a session with us if that's what you need. Greetings, everybody. As you come in the room, please tap the screen. Tap the screen as you come in and share this live to at least 10 or 11 people. Let your friends, your family, your co-workers, enemies, everybody know that we're live. And we're teaching about the Kemetic proverb, the ancient proverb of man know thyself. Non-gender specific, everybody, woman, man, boy, girl, individual. Know yourself. Man know thyself, and then thou will know the God and the goddesses in the universe. We have two more limiting beliefs that I want to give you as an example. My identity is limited to race, gender, and nationality. This is another limiting belief we've been taught. My identity is limited to race, gender, or nationality. Your identity is not limited to race, gender, or nationality. But we have believed and been duped into believing that our identity is tied to and limited to race, gender, and nationality. While culture shapes us, confining your self definition to external labels blocks you from accessing the fuller spectrum of your divine potential. I'm going to say it again. While culture shapes us, our culture shapes us. It shapes our worldview. It shapes our beliefs. But confining yourself to labels, external labels that other people put on you, it blocks you from accessing the fuller spectrum of your divine potential. So don't let race, gender, or nationality limit your divine potential. Don't let it limit your divine potential. You are more than your race. You're more than just your gender. You're more than your nationality. Don't allow anything to limit you. And the last limiting belief example that I will give you is belief that I am separate from nature and the elements. That I am separate from the nature and the elements. See, modern education often serves us and it severs us from the fires, the waters, the winds, and the earth that pulse through our bodies. Yet those same elements are the keys to embodied wisdom. I'm going to say that again. Modern education often severs us from the fires, the waters, winds, and earth that pulse through our bodies. But yet it is those elements that are the keys to embodied wisdom. It's within you. You are connected to everything that is. So we have to ask ourselves, where did I first learn this belief? Where did I first learn this belief? Two, how does it limit my self-knowledge or spiritual growth? So you have to ask yourself, where did I first learn these beliefs? How does it limit my spiritual growth? And then you have to ask yourself, what new life affirming belief could replace it? What new life affirming belief that speaks to my future, where I am and where I'm going, that can replace these limiting beliefs that I've held to be true, that I've examined and know now does not speak to my current reality? Remember, we're talking about today, man, know thyself. Non-gender Pacific, everybody. Know thyself. Then thou wilt know the God and the goddesses and the universe. Because everything is interconnected. So once you go inwardly, then you will find the answers to all things. Greetings, Grand Rising, 8th House Awakening. So happy to see you. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for sharing the live. Everybody, please, as you come in the room, share the live to at least 10 or 11 people. Let someone know that we're live and we're teaching about self-discovery, the power of gaining the three missing keys: identity, self-knowledge, and self-revelation. This is what have the world in a chokehold. So we have to learn to replace the limiting beliefs that we've been taught and expand our consciousness, expand our awareness, expand our understanding. So remember, ask yourself, who am I beyond the labels societies have given me? What beliefs have I inherited that no longer serves me? So take a breath. Now I want you to answer this question for yourself, to yourself. How can I bring balance to the fire, earth, air, and water within me? How can I bring balance? Because a lot of times the problem we have is we off balance. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support, the sharing. Thank you for tapping the screen. How can I bring balance to the fire, earth, air, and water within me? Because a lot of times we're off balance. Our chakras not aligned. Inwardly, our spiritual, we're off balance. So we got to learn how to bring ourselves back into balance. Because this is the beginning of self-mastery. This is how we reclaim our divine identity, by learning balance. See, we have to remember that man, know thyself is not just an ancient saying. It's a call to action. It's a call to return to yourself, to return to your roots, to return to your authenticity. Because the world has spinned a lie about you, about your creation, about your ancestral line. And it's up to us to set the record straight. It's up to you to discover the truth of yourself. Stop letting people define you. Stop letting people say who you are and who you're not. If people can't see your worth, just keep moving. Dismiss them. Do not dwell on people who cannot see your worth. Do not waste your time on people who cannot see your value. It's not meant for them to see, can you see your value? Can you see your own worth? Can you see your own potential? See, you were not born to worship a God outside of yourself. Religion, indoctrination, mental colonization have taught you that you were born to worship a God outside of yourself. The church teaches you were born to worship God. But what if true worship is not going to a building, a shrine, a temple, a mosque, a synagogue? What if true worship of the divine is learning to honor the divine within you? Honor the divine presence that's in you. Learning to honor and respect yourself. Because once you learn to honor and respect yourself, you learn to honor and respect others. See, the road to self-knowledge, to identity and self-revelation helps you gain your humanity back. But not only your humanity, your divinity. Because remember, we are divine beings. You were not just born to worship a God outside of yourself. You were born to awaken the God within you, within yourself. Can you awaken that? Awaken and arise to your own Godhood, to your own Christhood. Can you embody this truth? Not just hear it, not just talk about it, not just regurgitate it, but can you live out this truth? Is the question. Remember, you were not born to be saved by another. You were born to remember your identity, your divinity. Again, you were not born to be saved by another. You were born to remember your divinity. Because divinity lies within you. Divinity lies within you. You don't have to go looking up in the skies for it in a building. Some people are searching for the answer for their life. They're searching everywhere. They're going to every guru, every spiritual leader, every prophet, every priest, priestess. They're going everywhere. They're a tarot card reader. They're going everywhere trying to find the answer to the questions of their life. Not knowing that all you need to do is sit with yourself. All you need to do is sit with yourself, to look within, to find the answer. Because the answer is within you. It's within your soul. Because you are the solution and the answer to everything. Stop looking outside for the answer because you are the answer. Look within you. So reclaim your identity. No, you're not worth this. No, you're not just some random Joe. No, you're not just another number, another statistic. Embrace your divine nature. Embrace your own divinity. Stop giving into your lower nature. See, if I was to give into my lower nature, I'll be going off at these people in the comment section, especially on YouTube, that say these derogatory things. But I don't live in my lower nature. Live in your higher self, your highest ideals. Live from a place of knowing that you're divine. Divinity lives on the inside of you. So I gotta walk. I have to walk like I'm divine. I gotta talk like I'm divine. I must embody the principles in which my ancestors left for me. I have to live by those principles because it is those principles that help me mirror myself. It's those principles that help me move into alignment. So not only do we need to reclaim our identity, we need to embrace our divine nature and walk in the fullness of your sacred power. Walk in the fullness of your sacred power. Stop giving up on your journey when it gets hard. Stop giving up when things doesn't seem to be going your way. See, once you're on this track, the spiritual journey of self-discovery, identity, self-knowledge, these three missing keys, you're going to find out some things that's going to shock you. I never knew that, honey, what I was learning in Sunday school growing up wasn't true. What I believed, what I was taught, half truths and lies. See, what these paradigms that we've been taught, this programming has affected everything in our life, our decision making. It has affected our decision making. It has affected our worldview. So we have to learn to deconstruct from the programming. Let go of the old programming because it has you stuck. That's right, Christina Trotter. I am embracing my destiny. Embrace your destiny. Embrace your divinity, rather. Both your destiny and your divinity. That the divine lives in you. Everybody, but so many people we've been taught to look to the sky daddy. That God is a man on the throne, way up in the sky. Sounds just like Santa Claus, don't it? See everything you do, say, see if you're nice, you're naughty, you're bad. But we got to get out of there and know the divine is within us. And that we come from royalty. See, if we don't know our identity, who we are, where we come from, people can play us. Play us for the fool. We have to stop trying to be everybody else other than us. Everybody take our culture and our gifts and our talents and use them for their own advantage. So we have to learn We have to learn our identity because everybody takes our creativity and use it for their advantage. Everybody else wants to be us. When are we going to wake up to the fact that we don't need others? Our life does not depend on others embracing us, others accepting us. I have this video that I'm going to be posting later this afternoon talking about my thoughts about all of the things going on and being said around the newly elected Pope, Pope Leo the 14th. Because people are going on saying this, that, and the third about his identity, his ancestry. But we have to learn to celebrate those who celebrate us, those who claim us. That time we're trying to claim people who don't claim us. Why? Why are we trying to claim people who don't claim us? That's a problem. Your identity. You have to get your identity checked. Your identity is not found in your religion, in your spiritual practice. Your identity is not your job, your capabilities, your gifts, your accomplishments. It's not your identity. Who you are at your core essence. That's what we have to work at discovering. Then self-knowledge, knowing yourself. Learning to know who you are. Self-knowledge. Understanding oneself, one's own motives, one's own characteristics. Learning what makes you tick. Learning what gets you off. Learning what makes you upset. Learning what makes you happy. Learning what you truly love. Because some of us can you can tell more about somebody else than you can yourself. You've studied other people more than you've studied yourself. Self-knowledge is about studying the self. You studying you. How many of us are willing to really study ourselves? Study our motives. Why you think like you think. Why you do the things you do knowing that you don't even like it. Why do you go to these functions that people pressure you to go to? No, you don't want to go. Why are you always people pleasing? Why are you a people's pleaser? Why don't you stand up for yourself? Why do you keep shrinking in the background to boost someone else's ego? Why are you practicing a religion that you don't really, you doubt all the way? That you know ain't true. But you keep going because your mama and grandmother and great-great-grandfather built this church. Why do you people let people treat you and talk to you any kind of way? Why do you feel that you're not deserving of self-respect and love? Why do you feel that you're unworthy of dignity? Want to talk about self-knowledge? Answering these hard questions yourself. Searching within for the answer. That's why many people don't really want to get on this spiritual track of self-discovery, self-revelation. Because it causes us to look at ourselves. It causes us to see ourselves for what we are. Beyond the fluff, beyond the external labels. Looking at yourself open, naked, and bare. Can we really be honest with ourselves? You know, it's one thing to lie to everybody else, but to lie to yourself, that's the worst type of lie anybody can practice. Lying to ourselves. See, identity, the fact of being who or what a person or thing is. Have we discovered our identity? Or are we letting people say what they think our identity is? These are the questions of life that we have to be willing to face. So man, know thyself, then now we know the universe, the gods and the goddesses. It's not just a Kemetic proverb and phrase, ancient wisdom that was put on the walls of the temple. But it is a proverb we need to have written in our heart, sealed in our spirit and our soul, that we will continue in the path of getting acquainted with who we truly are, so that we can live in our authenticity, that we can live in our truth, and not succumb to the labels that the world place on us. So I want to thank each and every one of you for joining in our sacred session today of the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement and the Sankofa Sessions podcast with your host, Chief Apostle Veronica Yisrael, Chief High Priestess, Global Spiritual Leader, Teacher, Guide, and founder of the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement. Here at the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement, we are here to help you reconstruct your faith with universal truth, not religion. Here in this space, we offer tools, wisdom, and sacred space for those decolonizing from falsehood and returning to the truth. So be sure to subscribe, to follow, to like, to share, to comment. Subscribe to our channel. Turn on the notifications so you can be notified when we go live, when we have premieres, when we post. Because we're here to help you keep working on Solomon's temple, which is your inner spiritual house. To help you be able to stand on your square. Speak your truth unapologetically. To embrace your divinity. To love yourself. Because religion has taught us self-hate, self-doubt, to hate our skin, to hate our ancestry. All these things we've been taught. But we got to unlearn the lie, unlearn, reprogram, heal ourselves from within. A lot of people are trying to deal with their trauma and their problem from outside. But in order to effect change and for change to be a lasting effect, You have to start from within. You have to go within and heal the wounds that has been festering. Heal the wounds in yourself. Physician, heal thyself. Some of the worst and messed up people in the world are those who are physicians, not just talking about medical physicians, the therapists of the world, the spiritual leaders of the world. Because a lot of time we're trying to help people heal when we have not looked within and healed those places in us that has not been healed. Heal those places in us where we've been wounded, that where we just ignored, or we learned great coping skills. Spiritual bypass. But have we learned to deal with it head on and overcome our fears, overcome our limiting beliefs, overcome our doubts. See, don't let doubt keep you from going after what you truly desire. Don't let self-doubt keep you in a prison where you don't step out and accomplish your life's mission. Don't let the world label an expectation on you stop you from living your truth. Just because no one else wants to stand with you, stand on your square anyhow. People may say you'll never amount to anything. Prove them wrong. Take up the challenge. But just don't do it to prove a point to them. Do it to prove a point to yourself that I can do anything I set my mind to. I may have grown up in the ghetto, may have grown up in poverty. I may have grew up in a marginalized group, but that don't mean that have to define me. That doesn't mean I have to stay in that space. That doesn't mean I cannot rise up out of the ash heap and create a better life for myself. That I don't have to beg for a seat at the table. I can build my own table, build my own chairs, and invite others to come and sit, come and dine. We don't need to be accepted. We need to accept ourselves. We need to love ourselves. We need to appreciate ourselves. And once we do that, then we'll see a change. Then we'll see an improvement in our life. That's what we have to do. Do not allow people to out your fire. Do not allow people to speak negative words over your life. Do not allow people to project their fears, their insecurities on you. I know setting boundaries sometimes is hard, but we have to learn to set boundaries. Healthy boundaries. We have to learn how to set healthy boundaries. All of this is a part of man, know thyself. Each individual learning who they are. Because we're ever evolving. We're forever changing, evolving, elevating. Life goes with the ebb and flow. Nothing stays the same. Everything changes. So we have to be willing to go with the ebb and flow of life. We have to be willing that as we grow to make the necessary shifts, pivot in our knowledge, pivot in our view of the world, pivot in our way that we view ourselves. Don't stay stagnant. Be willing to embrace who you truly are. So we thank you for joining us today, the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement, with yours truly, Chief Apostle Veronica Yisrael, Chief High Priestess, Global Spiritual Leader, Teacher, Guide, and founder of the Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement, and the host of the Sankofa Sessions podcast. If you would like to book a spiritual consultation with us, you can inbox us if you would like to receive guidance or take advantage of any of our services that we offer. You can reach out to us. You can reach out to us by email at Chief Apostle Veronica S. Israel at gmail.com. Again, that is Chief Apostle Veronica Israel.com. Israel is spelled Yisrael. So just so you know, Chief Apostle Veronica S. Israel at gmail.com. Also, you can reach out to us on Facebook, on TikTok, or Instagram. Follow us on all of those social media. We're on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Follow us, and you can send us a message on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and reach us. If you don't want to email, you can reach out through those ways and let us know that you want to book a session or whatever we offer. You want to avail yourself to it. We're here and we're ready and we are able to help you, walk you through your spiritual transition on your journey, help assist you as you move through this journey of self-knowledge and self-discovery, self-revelation. And if you enjoy what you hear and you want to hear more than just a live stream, you want to be a part of a spiritual community where you can experience spirituality from an expanded consciousness perspective. If you're looking to reprogram yourself with teachings of truth and coming back to your roots, your ancestral roots, to find out who you are, to reconnect with the divinity within you, and you're looking to find a community where you can do that in a safe space, we want to welcome you home. You found your place, the spiritual home for those that are looking for more than what religion could never offer you. The Soul Awakening Sanctuary Movement could be that place for you. So if you're looking to join this community and be a part, a community member, reach out to us today, message us, and we'll get you the information you need in order to be a part of this community and take advantage of the resources that is available to you. Until next time, remember that you are powerful, you're creative. You are the epitome of the divine consciousness that created the universe. You are God in flesh having a human experience. Never let anyone, any ideology, any theology, any indoctrination or dogma, or anyone's negative opinion cause you to forget who you are. Because if it is true, and I believe it is, that you've been created in the image and likeness of the Creator, that makes you a co-creator with the divine. You are a creator yourself. And you were destined for greatness. Greatness is on the inside of you. Your name is great. And you are destined to do great things and exploits in the earth. And guess what? Everybody else around you know it. Whether they admit it or not, they know it. The question is, do you know it? And can you affirm the truth of that for yourself? And not only affirm the truth, but live it out. Walk it out every day. Always know that the presence of God, the divine in me, loves the presence of God, the divine in you. And we're here every Monday through Friday, unless otherwise noted. Every Monday through Friday at 12 noon, we are here live on YouTube and TikTok. And those that are on TikTok that would like to watch the replay, go over to YouTube. You can always watch the replay. We leave it up. Even those who are watching the replay, let us know you're watching. Get in the comments, share, help us build this platform, not just for my sake, but for all those that are looking for truth. And if you would like to give to support us, you can do. There are ways to do it. Is in the bio and it's on the flyer. You can do so through Cash App. You can give $ capital BSY lowercase ISRAEL 2021. Again, if you'd like to give and support this sacred work and this platform, you can do so through Cash App. You can do so capital VSY lowercase ISRAEL 2021. And if you want to use Zelle, if you say I don't use Cash App, I use Zelle, you can reach out to us and we'll get you the information for Zelle. Send us a message or comment and we will get you the information for Zelle so you can support this work and our mission of expanding our platform to reach more and more people all over the world to understand that you can live a life of liberation and truth beyond colonization, beyond indoctrination, beyond organized religion. You can rebuild your life and your faith on divine truth of who you are and your divinity. Until next time, peace be with you and know that you are the manifestation of the creative force itself. And I love you all. Peace be with you until next time. Tomorrow, 12 noon. Love you all.